It's crazy to think that companies will only hire sighted people to do the testing, and it's more of like an automation testing because manual testing by people with disabilities is what matters.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to WCAT Podcast. Today, we are going to do one of our brews, which is where we interview someone in the digital accessibility officer space. We're so excited that you've been tuning in and listening to us, and we hope that this continues. We are going to interview someone on the accessibility officer team, and in future weeks, we'll be interviewing people in the actual space so that you can get all sorts of different kinds of perspectives aside from Ellie and my own. Ellie, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yeah, this is Marisa Reder. She is our business operations manager at Accessibility Officer, and she wears many different hats and is very much the glue that holds our team together. So, Marissa, if you would like to introduce yourself and, in your own words, kind of describe your role and your capacity with the company.
Absolutely. Hi guys. I'm super excited to be on here as your guest. I am, like Ellie said, do operations, I do a little bit of HR, I do accounting, so I wear multitude of hats. Tanner has tasked me with a ton of hats. I do everything from helping our team with their labor logs, helping Tanner and Sherry and our management team with proposals or back end issues that we might have with different technology that we might be using, or even something as simple as when I first started doing sighted assistance for our testers.
For those of our listeners who can't see, can you explain for us your current costume for our listeners?
I'm currently in a unicorn onesie. No, I promise I'm not. I am just have long, really dark brown, almost black hair that goes down towards the lower of my back and just have a blue t-shirt on. I'm wearing a little necklace that I actually got a charm from a friend when I was 11 years old. Still very sentimental.
Can we pause real quick? Hey, are you not dressed up
Like in a
in
like
a
dressed up as
queen?
anything?
I thought you
Yeah.
had a
No,
crown on.
Okay,
I
okay,
don't have
okay.
anything.
Okay, I
I
apologize. That's why I
wish.
asked you. Okay. Okay, let's just get rid of the whole section and let me ask you something about payroll, okay?
I
Um,
wish I had a
okay, I
crown.
thought you were dressed up, and so that's why I was like, yeah. So if
Oh,
that question came out of left field, that's why. So here we
unless
go.
unless Rada can like put a crown on her head in the video, but
Uh, okay, hold on.
I mean, we could put like a unicorn emoji in front of my face or something.
Okay, hold on. So Marissa is obviously one of our unsung heroes. She's one of the people that works behind the scenes to make sure that our company is moving smoothly and that there are no hiccups. One of the things that I really appreciate about Marissa is that she handles payroll because I like getting paid. Marissa, can you kind of just talk a little about that? What you do for payroll? Again, just talk about that hat that you wear.
Yeah. So I took over payroll towards the end of last year, and it was something that we were super proud of to make a lot of our employees W-2 employees,
Mhm.
but also our apprentices and continue to bring them on. And it's very much a balancing act and something that, us as a company still struggle with to this day is time tracking and not really finding a accessible time tracking for people that are screen reader users or assistive technology users. And I think that's definitely like a market where we need to start looking. And I know one of our other employees has found something that might be usable for screen readers. So I might be picking your guys' brains soon, but
Mhm.
it's still so crazy to me because I do have full sight for anyone that is wondering. And I didn't realize how big of a problem accessibility was until I got into the digital accessibility space.
Yeah, it's
yeah, can you explain how
2026.
important payroll is to a company like ours? Like how critically important it is that it's up to date, it's accurate. and how it's a little bit challenging for new employees to get into the groove of doing it when this may be their very first ever big girl, big boy corporate job.
Absolutely. And I've held many hats in many different positions in my life so far. And, you clock in, you clock out every single day. And our testers and even our instructors here at the podcast, like we use Excel sheets because we, again, haven't found anything that's accessible for our testers and screen reader users. And it's something that I have to go through and I have specific days or times that I'm looking at. And then if our project managers and upper management need, hours for a client, it's something that I have to be on top of and making sure that everyone else on the team is, tracking their labor correctly. And like you said, Ellie, not everyone's had a job before. They haven't had to clock in and out every day. So they don't know the importance of tracking that.
And this kind of just all ties together, with Marissa tracking down people's hours, it then behooves us as the people who work those hours to be accurate, and not only accurate, but consistent as we upload our time. And so it's just a learning opportunity for anyone who is, like Ellie said, new to working in a fast-paced corporate environment like this. And it keeps us all accountable. I think that's really important because accessibility officer, we're not only teaching people about digital accessibility, but also professional habits that they can take with them to any future positions they'll hold.
I think
Exactly.
one thing I appreciate about Marissa is how effectively she communicates. Like, there, I think sometimes when your responsibility is as critical as hers, and you go and you check someone's work and you see that they haven't done what they're supposed to, whether that's logging labor, whether that's completing a task, I think our human tendency is to get frustrated, and sometimes we can inadvertently lash out at that person before we understand their circumstances. And Marissa is really good at kind of approaching a person more gently and being open minded. Like, maybe they did intend to do that task, but maybe there was a barrier that got in the way, or maybe technology was doing what technology is famous for and not working well. And I just really appreciate that about her.
Mhm. Definitely. We jokingly call her the queen of accessibility officer because without her, we would definitely crumble.
I
We
need a
were
crown. You're making me blush.
we were going to have this whole spiel with her dressed up. For those of you who are listening, it was going to be an entire thing, and we were going to call her Your Majesty and all this stuff. But things didn't pan out that way. But just know that Marissa is one of the people who we appreciate the most at Accessibility Officer. She keeps Tanner on track. She keeps us other people on track. Marissa, can you talk to us about? Um, I mean, we've already established you do a lot of things behind the scenes for the company itself, but can you talk to us about what it's like to do that in person when we're at conventions or in-person meetings?
Oh my gosh, that's probably my favorite. So I get to every once in a while accompany Tanner to in-person meetings with a client out here in Arizona. And, sometimes I'll get to sit in the meeting, sometimes I don't, but it's just awesome watching him present in a room and also being able to help um and get to know people. And then
Mhm.
again, like at conventions, it's the same thing. I don't get to practice screen reader skills. So I love listening to like Ellie and B talk about it. And I learned so much from you guys. I don't know if you know that, but I've learned so much. And it's just so cool watching you guys interact and more than what I do, kind of, when it comes to the screen reader testing. And I'm not familiar with all the terms, but I love that you guys network and that you guys make these connections and that everyone is just so excited about wanting to make a change. And there's so much change that we can make. There's
Mhm.
digital accessibility is for everyone, and there's
Mhm.
so much to fix.
So let me say two things that Marissa does at convention. So Tanner and I, we're both blind, and so we're just two guys standing in front of our booth, canes out, And then people walk up silently because it's so crowded and loud in those rooms. And so Marissa helpfully goes, "Hi, welcome to our booth." And so then me and Tanner start talking because otherwise we're just talking empty air. So that's something that I really appreciate about Marissa. Just letting us know that someone has walked up to us. And then she's not giving herself enough credit. I specifically remember one time when I was asking Marissa for some sighted assistance on a project I was working on. I was sharing my screen via Zoom, and it was a black screen, and I could not figure out why that was the case. And she goes, "Oh, are you using NVDA?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Your screen curtain's on, I bet." Lo and behold, that was the case. So she's an old pro. She knew stuff that I didn't even know. So just, learn it's awesome what you pick up just even by being adjacent to the space. You've never done an audit, but just being able to help generate proposals or be involved in using site assistance. I bet you've picked up way more than you think you know.
Probably, and it's something that I don't get to practice the skills a ton. When I initially started helping Tanner with Accessibility Officer, one of the tasks he gave me was to make a PDF presentation. And me being me, I did the brand colors, I made it look all nice and pretty, and gave it back to him. He's like, "This isn't accessible." And I said, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "There's nothing crazy." And he's like, "No, whatever you did, it's not accessible." And I was like, uh, okay. And then learning from you and Ellie, like color contrast, not putting, I'm like, oh, got it.
So this just in, on the next episode, we're gonna record Marissa playing with the screen reader. Got it.
You know, I,
But
I think one thing that's not spoken about a lot here is another like really awesome thing that Marissa has done at conferences is not only does she let us know when someone walks up to the booth, but she also lets us know when someone prematurely walks away. So we're not talking to the air because
Yeah.
that's a fun thing that happens to anyone who's got a severe degree of visual impairment.
I feel like, and I don't know, it's, if they're done with the conversation, not everyone has like the social cue to be like, okay, bye, or,
Yeah, yeah.
if they're not interested. And, I would never want someone to just walk away from me, and I would never want you guys to keep talking to someone and unless I think it's gonna be a funny TikTok video or something, be like, oh, B's over here talking to himself.
And it
But
saves us
no,
oodles and oodles of awkwardness. So we appreciate you endlessly for that.
absolutely.
But all this goes to say that accessibility is not something that's going to succeed with one skilled individual, is it?
Mhm.
It's a collaborative effort. It's a multi-individual effort. It's a team effort. And it requires that structure. And Marissa, you are unquestionably a huge part of that structure and the integrity of that structure.
Thank you. I try. I try my best. I love working with you guys. I love working with our team and, bringing it back to conventions. I think that's one of my favorite things is when I get to travel with Tanner and go to a conference or a convention and we get to meet some of the team members in real life because not everyone, gets to see each other and not everyone has met each other and we're all spread out and it's so fun and I'm so excited.
How is your experience now working for Accessibility Officer different from your previous employment experiences, where our team consists of mainly people with physical disabilities? And what do you see, like, what value do you see in hiring people like me, people like Tanner, people like B, who have severe disabilities?
Well, obviously, for one, you guys have a level of knowledge that, yes, I can go download JAWS or NVDA and practice screen reader skills, but, I haven't used technology like that ever, and I'm not going to be a pro overnight, where someone who has a disability or has used the assistive technology for years is going to be able to catch things that I'm never going to be able to catch or never be able to quote unquote see, if you will. Can I see if there's like a photo on a page? Absolutely. But I'm not going to be able to tell right away unless I'm using a screen reader that there is no alt text on it. I can't tell the difference of if the carousel is accessible or not for everyone. It's crazy to think that some companies will only hire sighted people to do the testing, and it's more of like an automation testing because manual testing by people with disabilities is what matters because you guys deserve work and a successful life and career just like anyone else. Just because you have a disability doesn't mean that you deserve anything less or that it should hold you back from anything.
Absolutely. It's the
Yeah.
most authentic experience when you hire someone with a disability to test your page for digital violations.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you as well, looking in from your outside perspective, right? You're not involved in the day-to-day minutia of testing, of project management, but I wanted to ask you what your opinion is. How can someone who has a disability thrive in this kind of environment? What kinds of things have you noticed for those individuals who particularly seem to do well?
Probably practicing and keeping up your skills and just asking questions and not being afraid. I know you and Ellie yourselves are great resources, but you know, it's ever changing. Technology is getting better. We've got the use of AI now, which is something that can help us with our testing and capturing screenshots without needing sighted assistance. But it's also something that, unless you actually put in the work and the dedication to be better and want to be better, you're not going to succeed. I have been a manager, low-level manager multiple times. I came from a customer service oriented background. I never really did accounting or anything. And so even this is different for me in the sense that I'm still learning. I still need to keep my skills up and do things to be better and to be the best that I can for this team.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
I'm a huge victim of this. Not victim. I'm using the wrong word, but I have to fight my innate nature all the time because I'm a dinosaur. I don't like change. And so I have to constantly be reminding myself to see what the newest thing is, to step outside my comfort zone. I'll take the path of least resistance, and sometimes you have to take the harder road in order to grow your skill set. And so if you're a listener out there, I'm highly encouraging you to do the same thing. Walk this path with me. Take that harder road so that we can be better in the future rather than just relying on the same old methodologies that have worked but might be a little outdated.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I have had some tougher experiences in my life where I think they, at the time, were really tough because they were just emotionally hard and they were really not fun for me. But ultimately, I think that they were a good thing because they pushed me to really always try to find ways that I can be valuable. Like find reasons why someone would want to keep me around.
Hmm.
And I think it's born from being kind of insecure and incompetent in my own abilities. But if you leverage it in the right way, like if you use it to motivate you to do more, to make sure that you're relevant, to make sure that you're valuable, then you're approaching it from the right angle versus being like, I I'm not good enough, I'm never going to be good enough. Because if you tell yourself that, then you never will be.
Right. You don't want to wallow. You want to use that as ammunition to improve in the future, for sure.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Marissa, and we just appreciate the collaboration. If you're a listener out there and you have people like Marissa on your team who step up and do things without being asked, keep them close because you don't want to lose them. You'd be surprised by how quickly a team can degrade. You can have a bunch of genius testers on the team, but without people like Marissa who hold things together, it'll all fall apart. If you are a blind person or a person with a disability and you're listening in, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're interested in the CAP program, please reach out. We are all about making sure that you can grow not only as a digital accessibility tester, but professionally, so that even if you take nothing away from listening to our podcast, there might be some little nuggets of wisdom, small as they may be, that you can take away with you.
Yep. And my word of advice at the end of this, as we come to a close, is think about your own capacity. What are you doing right now to increase value for yourself and to increase the success of the organizations that you are involved with? Because there are people like Tanner and Bee and Sherry who are the public facing figures, the faces of Accessibility Officer. But there are other members of the team who may not be as publicly facing, like Marisa, who do things on a daily basis that ensure the success of the company as a whole. So that's what I want everyone to think about. What are you individually doing to increase your value and to help your organization?
So to all the unsung heroes like Marissa, whoever is on your team, whoever is within your organization who do not get appreciated as much as they should be, thank you so much from the Accessibility Officer WCAT podcast team. Spill the tea on digital accessibility.
Subscribe to the WCAT WCAT podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Links below.